Oh, Thomas Shade, just want to show you some progress. Your This probably has been here about a week. This is your linoleum for the floors. These came in today. This is the round one is an access plate for looking at the bilge pump and getting to your drain in the boat. And then this plate right here goes around the gear shift handle. And so those came in today. Let's see. We are progressing pretty nicely. We got to concentrate quite a bit on it this week. And so let's see. Let me get this stuff over here where I can find it later. Okay, so we have your prop shaft and prop finally installed completely and aligned with the engine, or the engine aligned with the prop shaft. We actually had to pull it again today what did we have to pull it for? Oh, yeah, it was an inch and a half too long. So we had to have it pulled. We had to pull it, actually, inch and 3/8 too long. Had to pull it and have a machine shop cut it down an inch and 3/8 and add the keyway, extend the keyway into it farther. We've installed your battery box and built and installed a battery box. There was not a battery box. The reason for this compartment, that's the way it was done back in 34. You had in this area, you had a tool kit that went in here, and an extra quart of oil and that kind of stuff. And then the battery was in here. Moving forward, we've got the floors installed today for the last time. Underneath the floors, you'll see we have a shifter rod. And of course, we have a steering rod that's right next to that. There's your two rods. Over here we have copper line. That's your oil pressure line. It goes from right here on the block to your gauges, which we now have installed. We also have the choke cable, which is the wire spiral bound cable here, and we have the throttle rod, which is the brass rod. I think you've seen all of that. Maybe not all of it. I think you've seen most of that tied up to the stringer with scrap of upholstery materials, which is the way it was done in 1934. The other end of the tack cable, right, his tachometer cable is right here. I'm not sure if I pointed out to you before. We've got all of the water intake, and we have a recycle line from the thermostat back to the input on the pump. And then, of course, when the thermostat opens, then all your water goes overboard instead of just part of it. We have restored your wheel. It had a few cracks in it, and we've restored those and painted your wheel. Looks beautiful now. We also got this in this week. This is your, I got it in the latter part of last week. Anyway, this is your throttle rod, your throttle lever, I mean. And you can see it. Let's see, as I move this, you should be able to see the throttle rod moving down there. It's moving a bell crank over in this area. I'll do it again so you can see that. And that pushes your throttle. That's actually pushing your throttle to its idle, and that's opening your throttle up. Your horn button's in the middle of that. We have the horn wired in. We haven't energized everything yet and made sure that the smoke stays in the wire. So it's the smoke theory of electricity, if you haven't ever heard of that. But anyway, it's kind of a joke, kind of a fun joke. Let's see, we have, so we've been wiring. We have of course, oil pressure is not wired. Oil pressure is this copper tube. Tachometer, of course, is not wired either, but the amp meter is wired. So we have the amp meter wired and going around to the other side of the engine. And here's your wiring for your bow light. And going around to the other side of the engine over here, we have, I can show you the linkages. So I'll show you wiring first. We have the voltage regulator wired in right here to the generator. And then we have, what I was going to show you is your choke cable is landed here. Your throttle rod is landed here on the carburetor. Let's see. I think you've already seen the fuel filter. And and fuel lines. So, what else we got? We have also got the kick plate done right here for the. This actually is what your feet will sit on, or underneath the dash. That's where your feet will go. There will be a linoleum panel on here, and down in this corner will be your start switch, just like trucks and cars used to start back in the 30s. You'll have a push button down here that you hit with your foot. This piece will have a notch in it. This is the template to show us where our notch needs to be for the steering column. And so the steering column will just fit right in there. And we have also started on some of your trim. I'm not sure. No, that's not it. Okay. Where did I put it? Well, oh, right here. So this is a transom band. This will fit right here on the transom. And you peel back the protective coating, you can see this is a highly polished mirrored stainless steel. So this had to be made from scratch, cut out on a bandsaw, and then drilled and countersunk it. And then we will be making another one for this other side. We also have to install the trim. Once we've installed all of that, we will take it back off and we'll varnish the boat one last time. Oh yeah, and by the way, back here, Brandon tells me that he thinks you and him have agreed on a font for back here on where it says Survivor. So that's moving along. We do have one hitch in the get along right now. I don't think this is going to be a long-term hitch in the get along. I expect to get the clumb switch, which goes in this hole right here. I expect to get that this coming week. We're supposed to get it this week, and we've called and asked for an update and not gotten one yet. So we'll keep pushing on that. The clumb switch is where your key goes to turn on the engine and to turn it on and off. You'll still use the start button that's in the floor for your starter, but this will be, your ignition on and off will be a key switch. It also has a dimmer, or what was used in the Model Ts, it was used as a dimmer for the lights, but you'll have bow light and instrument light, and then you'll have stern light will come on with the other setting on that clumb switch. So that hasn't come in yet. Of course, the interior will just fit right back in, no problem, and fasten down. We still have to do the linoleum over the floors, but I'm going to do them on little panels that can be lifted out. And as you can see on this side, we also have your starter wired in, and this red wire here goes and sends power to your dash. We also have the bilge pump wired in, that's down below the floor, and we have the blower wired in, which I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's your blower. That white thing hanging from the deck is your blower. We got to get the hose on it, but that's also wired in. So we're about half finished, I guess, with the wiring. So in terms of when do I think I'm going to be ready? I'm definitely going to be ready by October 1st. I could be ready a couple of weeks earlier, but I'm skittish to give a hard date too. So let's talk after you've seen the progress here. And I had hoped to be testing this boat today, down to the lake, running it, and I'm probably a day or two. I'm 2 days away from being able to do that. I want to get the interior partially in. I'm not going to worry about this back section before I test, but I got to get the front section of the interior in. I got to get all the wiring completed, and then we can go to the lake with it. So, also, I was supposed to get what they call a castle nut to go on the prop, and it did not come with the new prop shaft, so I'm going to have to get the castle nut. Once I get all the testing done, which I'd say by the end of next week I'm going to have the testing done, then it's going to take us about a week to sand and varnish and then make the lines white. I have also, you know, we have trim that goes around the engine hatch, and we have this rub rail trim and spray rail trim that we'll install before we do the final coat of varnish, so that we don't scratch the final coat of varnish while we're figuring out where the holes go and where the ends are and all that stuff on when we assemble it. So that's where we are. Like I said, I could probably give you a hard date today, and it might be the week before October the 1st if I had to give you a hard date today. I don't want to. I would just like to say, hey, we're going to be there on the 1st of October, or whatever weekends right before that, or whatever weekends right after that. And I know we're going to be good to go there. I'm trying to be ready at least 3 weeks ahead of time, so that if we have some glitch or something, that it does not affect the delivery again. Okay, so there's the update for Friday evening. Thank you, sir.